Welcome to WPAT 9:30 a.m. on your radio dial in New York City. Call your friends and ask them to join us right now live. And if you're anywhere in the world and have access to the internet, you can join us on WPAT930.com, AM.com, WPAT930am.com. And also we are on my YouTube page, which is the Underdog Report, at the Underdog Report, and join us there. And today I am very, very excited that my good friend Stephen Willeford, who I'm going to share some screenshots here of what he does. He's the hero who basically saved people's lives when in Texas there's one person was killing others, came into a church, killed 26 people, and Stephen stopped him. God bless you, Stephen, for doing that. And his website is, you can see, it is called the barefootdefender.com, barefootdefender.com. Now, he's part of the goals, which is gunowners.org, Gun Owners of America, gunowners.org. And right today, they're in the middle. Today's the 9th. He's in the middle of the Gun Owners Advocate, the Leadership Summit. But really exciting today. I'm excited to say that Stephen has invited a friend of his on, and I'm going to kind of turn the microphone over to him. I'll be in the background, and he's got a very good friend of his, and that good friend is none other than the person that you've seen all the way on the news. He's a barefoot defender also, Mr. Mark McCloskey and his wife Patty. Let me turn this over to Stephen and Mark. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Oh, it's so great to be on your show once again. And again, what an honor to be with Mark McCloskey once again. Mark and I went down to the Texas border long ago, and before Donald Trump got back into office, they were flooding our border with illegal aliens, and our National Guard was actually assisting with that. And Mark and Patty came down to the border with us, and we filmed together. Do you want to comment anything about that, Mark?
Well, I can tell you it was an eye-opener for me. I mean, we're down in Roma, Texas at midnight, and the United States government, in cooperation with the cartels, was bringing over unescorted minors by the hundreds, lining them up in columns and rows,
Wow.
putting them on buses and sending out. My wife, who speaks Spanish, asked a 9-year-old girl from Guatemala where she was going in the United States, and she said New Haven, Connecticut. I don't think she was going to Yale. She'd just gotten off a rubber boat 5 minutes before. And so that's our government in cooperation with the cartels, illegally bringing in aliens and shipping them off into God knows where, no DNA testing, no nothing, no attempt to determine whether or not they're being sold as slaves or sold, to pedophiles or anything else. It was one of the most disheartening things I'd ever seen.
Or even finding out who they really are,
Yeah.
uh, finding out their identity or anything else. They were just shipping them across the border.
Now,
And
Mark, you were in the news very recently. This is actually yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
So what happened? You lost your AR-15? You left it at the airport or something? You said you.
Yeah, I left at the airport. Back when my wife and I held off 350 to 500 screaming BLM monsters that broke through our gate, threatened to kill us, burn down our house, kill our dog, burn down my office building. Well, after all that was over, although we were never left our own property, never put off a shot, nobody got hurt. Our George Soros sponsored prosecutor here in St. Louis decided that she needed to charge us with felonies. That was June 28th, 2020.
They
On July,
actually they actually broke down the gate to your house.
he
So
broke
you
down the
give them a
gate to our
pop.
neighborhood. I live in a gated neighborhood. They broke down the gate and stormed in. And on July the 10th of 2020, the city came and confiscated those two guns. Well, we got charged with Class E felonies, two each, which would have cost us 4 years in prison, our law licenses, and everything else. We eventually got that reduced to misdemeanors, got pardoned by the governor. And so then when I got pardoned by the governor, I said, well, the governor's pardon said that it eliminated every disadvantage and every legal effect of the charges against me. And I figured that meant, I get my guns back. So I filed a writ of replevin, and the judge says no. Court of Appeals says that the governor's pardon obliterated our convictions, but not our guilt, whatever the hell that means. And so we didn't get the guns back. Well, so we went one step further and got ourselves expunged. And under the law of expungement in Missouri, once you're expunged, it is, quote, as if the underlying event never occurred. So I filed another lawsuit in replevin saying, under the laws of Missouri now, I've never been arrested. I've never been charged. I've never been convicted. Why the hell do you have my guns, right? And then the city moved to have my expungement reversed. And the judge denied that. But then they took that up to the Court of Appeals, and we won that on July 1st of this year. So after 3 lawsuits, 2 trips to the Court of Appeals, 1,847 days, 1,847 days later, I finally got my AR-15 back. We're still working to get that little Brico pistol back.
And you on the front page of Fox News yesterday. You've been quite a person. It's quite a privilege to have you on the show. We appreciate Stephen pulling this together.
I want to say, Mark, just people talk about, all Texans talk about Texas. And when we talk about Texas, they think we're arrogant about our state. And then they figure out we're not arrogant, we're just right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and Missouri is a great gun state. We've got the then governor, Mike Parson. He was an Army guy. Then after that, he was a sheriff, and then the state senator. And when he was in the state Senate, he sponsored a bunch of great 2A legislation, including our Stand Your Ground and Castle Doctrine. And then when he was governor, they passed the Second Amendment Preservation Act, making it illegal for law enforcement in Missouri to cooperate in the federal government's interference in your 2A rights. I was standing right beside him when he signed the bill, and yet, nonetheless, with all those protections, the Soros-funded prosecutor, there's me picking up my gun Friday morning from the police impound. Check the serial number to make sure that it was the right gun, and it was good to have an old friend home.
Missouri is a great state. Actually, my wife is from St. Louis, Missouri. It is a great state, but how ridiculous that they hung on to your gun for so long. First off, you didn't even have to shoot anyone or anything, just showing the gun. And people need to understand that a good guy with a gun, even if he doesn't fire his gun, if he stops crime from happening.
Body cam footage reviewing the moment a South Carolina deputy collapses after being exposed to fentanyl during a traffic stop.
And I don't even have any fentanyl on me.
That was just the YouTube continuing to play. I'm sorry. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right, Stephen. The benefit of the Second Amendment is 2 of us, and my wife, who had never fired a gun in her life, just having a gun in her hand, we held off a mob of hundreds that was all screaming death and rape and arson, and never having to fire a shot. But it is an intimidating presence nonetheless. And that's the beauty of the Second Amendment. You have a right to defend yourself. You've got a God-given right to defend yourself. And as I've said 1,000,000 times, the rights given to you by God cannot be taken away by government.
Amen. Absolutely. We at Gun Owners of America, you can find us at gunowners.org. Sign up and be part of that. We are fighting that fight more than anybody else out there at gunowners.org. And we are in the fight to win the fight, and we have been winning the fight. And we certainly thank you and Patty. Your lovely wife. I got the opportunity to meet her, and how cool. And I still call you a copycat because you ran out with those shoes on, and that was after what I had done, and so I still call you a copycat. But you're
a good act to follow. That's all I can say. But I remember we were both on the Trump campaign back in 2020, and that was the first time I met you. I can't remember. It might have been State College, Pennsylvania, where you came up and we met for the first time.
So Mark, I want to mention you do something else. You're a lawyer. I'm going to show you a website here. It's at the website address is MccloskeyLaw.com. You're doing something for America here. Tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, I've teamed up with Peter Tickton, who's an old friend of Donald Trump's, and we now represent several hundred January 6 political prisoners in compensation claims. I mean, these folks, the real world of January 6 was an insurrection, but it wasn't Trump supporters. It was the continuing coup against Donald Trump by the left. And the vast majority of the guys and gals on January 6th, they walked through doors to the Capitol building, held open for them by Capitol Police, fist bumped the cops, sang the national anthem, chanted, USA, 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 then walked back out past the cops holding the doors open. These people had their houses raided. They were harassed in the media for misdemeanor trespass charges. The FBI and federal marshals would swat their houses with bearcats in their front yard, helicopters over the top of their houses. People went to federal prison, lots of them,
Oh my
for no
God.
more than misdemeanor trespass charges.
Is there going to be any justice in these J6 trials? Or is anybody going to get in trouble or charged? Your opinion?
I sure as heck hope so. I believe that we will be able to demonstrate that there was a conspiracy going back to September of 2020 to set up January 6th as a way to send a message to the American people that if you stand up against the government, we will crush you, we will destroy you, we will bankrupt you, we'll make you wish you'd never been born. They arrested
45 seconds, Mark. 45
Okay.
seconds. So I just want to go. Just want to make sure we mentioned GunOwners.org. GunOwners.org. We go there, and obviously your website, which was
MccloskeyLaw.com.
And then Stephen Willeford's The Barefoot Defender, The Barefoot Defender. It was such a privilege having you on. This will be live, as mentioned, on WPAT. And I just want to say thank you so much for your time. Stephen, you're a great guest. Got 15 seconds. Take it away, Stephen.
Well, please go to Amazon and buy my book, A Town Called Sutherland Springs. I really think it is a good read and made it #1 in Christian biography.